If you just went under contract for the purchase of a home, one of the first things on your to-do list is scheduling your home inspection. And for most buyers, the inspection is the moment a new home stops being an idea and starts becoming a tangible reality. Here's what I've seen happen again and again in my nearly 2-decade career. Buyers walk out of an inspection either completely reassured when they shouldn't be or completely panicked when they don't need to be because they don't fully understand the purpose of the inspection. Today we're going to fix that. I'm Shireen, I'm a licensed real estate broker in Illinois based in Chicago, and this video is specifically about home inspections for single-family homes. If you're purchasing a condo, the inspection is a different process, and I'll be covering that in a separate video because it genuinely deserves its own conversation. For now, let's talk about what your home inspector is actually looking at, what they're not, and what I always recommend you add to a general inspection, because a general inspection alone, in my professional opinion, is not enough. First, let's establish what a home inspection actually is. A home inspection is a visual examination of the property's accessible systems and components conducted by a licensed inspector, typically at the buyer's expense during the inspection contingency period. The key word here is visual. Inspectors are looking at what they can see and access. They are not going inside the walls, and they're not digging up the yard. They are doing a thorough, systematic walkthrough of the property and documenting the condition of what is visible and accessible. This is important to understand, not because inspections aren't valuable, they absolutely are, but because buyers sometimes have an expectation that an inspection will reveal everything, and that's not what it's designed to do. Let me walk you through the major systems an inspector covers. Number 1, the structure and foundation. The inspector is checking for cracks, settling, water intrusion, or anything that suggests structural movement. They're also looking at the visible framing, the floor joists, the structure of the basement or crawl space, and any load-bearing elements they can access. 2, the roof. The inspector evaluates the condition of the roof and looks for signs of wear, missing or damaged material, improper installation, or evidence of leaking. They will typically access the roof on foot if it's safe to do so. If not, they will evaluate what they can from the ground, sometimes with the use of binoculars or drones. 3, other exterior elements. This includes, but is not limited to, the siding, trim, gutters, downspouts, windows and doors from the outside, the grading of the land around the foundation, which matters enormously for water management, walkways, driveways, decks, porches, and any attached structures like an attached garage. If the home has a detached garage, that too will get inspected. 4, the electrical system. The inspector examines the electrical panel, identifies the type of wiring, looks for double tapping, improper grounding, missing breakers, and other safety concerns. They'll test outlets, particularly GFCI outlets in kitchens, bathrooms, and garages, and look for anything that's been done improperly or that creates a hazard. 5, the plumbing. Your inspector will run water throughout the house, checking under sinks, testing the water pressure, looking for evidence of leaks or previous leaks, and checking the visible supply and drain lines. The water heater will be checked for condition, age, and whether or not it's properly venting. And while in the basement, the inspector will also examine the sump pump if there is one. 6, the HVAC system. HVAC stands for heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. The inspector will run the furnace and the air conditioner if temperatures allow, and examine the age and condition of the equipment, including the ductwork, filters, flues, and vents. Age matters here, but an older furnace that's still functioning well isn't necessarily a deal breaker, but it prepares you for what you may be facing in the next few years. 7, the interior, which includes lots of walls, ceilings, floors, windows, doors, cabinets, appliances, etc. The inspector is checking for signs of water damage, cracking, settling, and operational issues. For example, a window that doesn't open properly is a habitability issue. A water stain on a ceiling is a flag for further investigation, and an oven that won't heat up may need to be replaced. 8, the attic. The attic is one of the most telling parts of an inspection. The inspector is looking at things like insulation levels, ventilation, and whether there is evidence of moisture or mold. A lot of deferred maintenance reveals itself in the attic. Now let's talk about what the inspector is not looking at, which is equally important. A standard home inspection does not include anything inside the walls. The inspector cannot see wiring, pipes, or structural elements that are behind finished walls. Chimney components beyond what's visible. If there's a chimney, the inspector will note its visible condition, but a proper evaluation requires a chimney specialist with a camera. Please note that the chimney is different from the fireplace. Mold beyond what is visible. If the inspector sees something that looks like mold, it will be noted, but air quality testing and mold remediation assessment are separate specialties. Pests and termites require a separate inspection. Pools and spas. If the property has a pool, a separate pool inspection should be done by a qualified pool inspector. The sewer line. This is underground and it is outside the scope of a standard inspection. I'll come back to this one in a moment. Radon. Separate test. I'll come back to this too. Septic systems, wells, and sprinkler systems are also not included. After the inspection is completed, the inspector provides you with a report that documents all of the findings with photographs and recommendations. Among those may be a recommendation to get a specialty inspection. The inspection report is not a pass-fail document. It is information, and it's up to you to determine how to move forward with that information, of course, with the guidance of your agent and attorney. Now, I want to talk about 2 additional specialty inspections that I regularly recommend for single-family homes, and I'll tell you why. The first one is a radon inspection. Radon is a naturally occurring radioactive gas that comes from the decay of uranium in soil. It's odorless, colorless, and invisible. You cannot detect it without testing, and it is reportedly the 2nd leading cause of lung cancer in the United States. Here's what I tell every one of my buyers. I don't care what the EPA map says about radon levels in a particular zip code. I don't care if the listing agent says the area is low risk. I don't care if the sellers say they've never had a problem. Radon testing is inexpensive, and if needed, radon mitigation is easily manageable. Then you can have peace of mind knowing that you are not being exposed to dangerous levels of radon gas. If the home has a basement, we test for radon, period. That's my professional recommendation, and I give it every time without exception. The second inspection I always recommend is the sewer scope inspection, which gets overlooked more often than not, and neglecting to have a sewer inspection may be one of the most costly mistakes a buyer can make. A sewer scope inspection involves running a camera through the sewer line from the house out to the main municipal connection. It looks for root intrusion from trees, any kind of obstruction, collapsed or cracked sections of pipe, bellied sections where the line has sagged and waste pools rather than flows, offset joints and deteriorated tile pipes, which are quite common in older Chicago area homes. Sewer line repair or replacement is not a small expense. We're talking thousands to tens of thousands of dollars depending on the extent of the damage, where the line runs, and how long it runs. I always recommend sewer scope inspection on single-family homes, whether they're new or old, and whether or not there are mature trees in the yards. That doesn't matter. The peace of mind alone justifies the very small cost. Before I close, let me guide you on how to best approach any inspection report. Be prepared. An inspection report on any house, even a brand new one, will have items on it to address. That is normal. What you're looking for is the nature and severity of the findings, not the length of the list. Work with your agent and your attorney to understand what's major, what's minor, and what's deferred maintenance. The inspection is a tool to help you make informed decisions, so use it that way. Coming up, I'm going to do a separate video specifically on condo inspections because the scope is different. So if you're looking to buy a condo, watch for that one. If you have any questions about the inspection process, drop them in the comments. I will read and respond to all of them. I'm Shireen, and I'll see you in the next video.